The playoffs are upon us, y'all. Finally. Finally. But a little bad news coming out. Joel Embiid is likely doubtful against the Brooklyn Nets in Game 1 tomorrow down at the Wells Fargo Center. Unfortunate, it sucks. You do the load management with Embiid. You expect him to be healthy, so he doesn't have to have issues and will be healthy. But no Joel Embiid, unfortunately. So we're just going to have to go on with what we have. The Fab Five, the Philly Phab 5, I should say, have only played 10 games together in which they went 8-2. They outscored opponents by 9, 122 to 113, without all of them playing together in the lineup. We only are beating opponents by 2, which kind of sucks. But we drew the Nets in the first round. And it's kind of lesser of two evils, which I'm cool with because I didn't want to play Orlando at all. You know what I mean? Did not want to play them because of the matchups. You've got a guy that can bang down low with Embiid. In Vujovic, they have very athletic wings that would trounce us. That's a big issue that we have. And even their guard play, Fournier and Augustine with torches, especially with the pick and roll of Vujovic, leave him out there open for threes. But there's not going to be a JoJo, and can we win without Joel Embiid? We rested him. He played 14 games out of the 24 at the end of the season, expecting that they were going to be healthy. I don't think it's going to be easy. I know a lot of people have us walking into the second round. You saw during the regular season. I know playoffs are different, but it's not going to be an easy matchup. You're going to have Zaire Smith, who's very inexperienced. He barely got to play any playing time, first off, or any games in his rookie season because of the issues had with the Jones fracture and then the peanut allergy. But you're going to throw him in there, expecting him to help shut down Dinwiddie and D'Lo, who have been a nightmare for the Sixers. Not only guards, but these two especially have torched the Sixers in the 4-game series. We did split the series 2-2, but it's all going to be about guard penetration with them. And they've got a good young center in Jared Allen, who's a good shot blocker. So I think we're going to see a lot of shooting from the outside, especially if JoJo's not going to be in there. Who's going to take his minutes? It's going to be interesting to see what Brett Brown's going to do with the rotation. Is Brett Brown going to be able to hide our inabilities with this rotation? Is it going to be an 8-man rotation? Now with JoJo out, is it going to extend to 9? Are you going to see a lot of Greg Monroe versus Boban? I don't know. Since there's no offensive game to Jared Allen other than putbacks and lobs, I think you can put Greg Monroe in there. He's not great defensively. I think he's lazy on the defensive end, but he's great offensively. You can still run what you want to do with Embiid like you like to do with Embiid with Greg Monroe because he's efficient with the post game. So I would predict Brett playing Greg Monroe a lot of minutes over Boban. And then let's not sleep on our boy, the other Aussie in Bolden. He's going to be able to stretch the floor. But it's all going to be about shutting down their guards. And hopefully Zaire Smith, his athleticism is going to be overshadow his inability not to play a lot of games this year. They're going to the finals. I'm not writing them in there yet, but when the five have played together, they've looked pretty unstoppable. And we have chemistry issues still. Only playing 10 games under this regime, it plays a big part. And what is Brett going to do with Ben Simmons now that JoJo's out? I would love to see Ben Simmons be aggressive. He really doesn't have to score a lot. You just want him to be able to facilitate, but you don't also want him to disappear in a half-court offense is what happens with Ben, which is frustrating to see. He picks up his dribble too early, I think. He's still a work in progress. He's not a true point guard. I'm glad Luke Walton is fired today. Yeah, and I like that Dave Yorger got fired too, so God forbid if something does happen with the Sixers here and they do get knocked out, we at least have some options to go to. I'm a big fan of Dave Yorger. I think he's done a great job with Western teams. I don't think he would have got fired with the Kings. I see him go in the finals. I don't think we'll win, though. It's going to be tough to say. It's all about matchups. We do match up well, I think, with the Bucks. That would be an exciting series. Raptors, too. So it's all about staying healthy, but it's all about JoJo staying healthy. And again, I'm glad we drew the Nets. I don't think this is going to go seven games. Hopefully, we should be able to knock them out in 5. I think they will take one game, whether it's game 1, which I hope it isn't. You got to come out, especially on your home court, come out firing. Just put your freaking foot on their throat and put them out of their misery. Take 2 at home and go win 1 on the road if you can. And God forbid we do have to come back to the Wells Fargo and we can end it that way. But you got to put pressure on this team. They're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder because they have had the Sixers' number. If it wasn't for Jimmy Butler's heroics early in November where he hit that buzzer beater 3, we could have been looking at 1-3 in the series again. But I want the Sixers' tenacity to pick up. I'm hoping and praying we get good play from the bench because we're going to need it. Brett's obviously going to be playing the starters 40-plus minutes, but is he going to leave Ben Simmons at the point? I don't know. That's all up to him and what the coaching staff are doing. You're hearing reports now that Monty Williams is a likely candidate to possibly be the Lakers' next head coach, so we could be losing him, which is nothing the Sixers should be upset about. We already lost that bum, Billy Lang, which is great. So let's lose that other bum, too. It's all going to be about the coaching and what's going to happen. I expect the ball to heavily be in Jimmy Butler's hands tomorrow. Early tip-off for the first game, 2:30. And you got to get Tobias Harris more involved, more incorporated, draw more plays for him, and have Ben Simmons be aggressive. Don't let him have the foot off this pedal. Just run up-tempo on them. Completely go off kilter and off script what we've been doing all season, and let's just run up-tempo all game long. Wear them out. Yes, they are the best driving team. And not to have JoJo back there is a little worrisome because the 3 guys that we have, the best shot blocker is Jonah Bolden. And I don't think he's great defensively at all. He at least can block a couple shots. He's a little athletic. But Bobby's not going to be in there to be blocking shots. He's terrible defensively. He's just a big body so he can alter shots, and Greg Monroe doesn't play a lick at defense. Joe Harris is going to have to be a key feature too. So when you get a lot of that dribble penetration from either Dinwiddie or D'Lo, they're going to be able to kick it out to Joe Harris, and he's going to be hitting threes. You can't bite and fall for that. I think Brett, and I'm praying he doesn't do the same defense that he's been doing all year and the entire time he's been here, where you just let the one player get his and play man-to-man. I want to see some zone thrown into there and to be able to shut down and guard the perimeter. And thank God that Zaire is healthy. I still think he's a work in progress, but the talent is there. It's limitless. He can be such a true shutdown defender. And he's gotten into foul trouble early, but he's young. He hasn't had a lot of games under his belt. So it's going to be, you're really leaning a lot on this kid to be able to shut down 2 really good guards that have had great years in those 2, especially D'Lo. And then you've got, who came out today and said it from the Nets, that they were pissed about the process. They thought I think it was Dudley. Dude's corny anyway. He come out and said he's going to dare Ben Simmons to shoot. They're already calling it and saying we're going to let Ben Simmons shoot, and they're going to clog the paint. It's going to be up to Ben to get some shots up. If not, just go strong to the hole and get them in early foul trouble. I wouldn't stray away from completely going to the cup. You know, I don't want to have it to where we're doing a lot of pin downs and a lot of dribble handoffs with JJ, which could happen. I'd love to get Jared Allen in foul trouble. Just go right at him. Don't be feared. Don't be afraid to go right at him and getting your shots blocked. You got to get him in early foul trouble. You got to get to the line. We cannot get away from that, in my opinion. But I'd still like to see a lot more up-tempo. Yeah, he is. He's a great offensive rebounder. I mean, they've got a good team. They're scrappy. They're coached well, and Kenny Atkinson. That's why I mean it's not going to be everybody expects us to just come in here and sweep the Nets. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think it's going to be a good series. They may even take 2 games. It could go 6, but I would like to say we're going to take it in 5. With the talent that we have, with the starting 5, even though JoJo's not in there, and it's unfortunate, and I've said this before. JoJo, there's the load management, and you don't want to have baby gloves on him, but in my eyes, you don't want to have baby gloves on him because he's just going to get hurt. That's just the way he is. He reminds me of a less injury-prone Greg Oden. The guy had so much talent on the court, he could just never stay on the court, never healthy, ever. And I don't see Embiid playing past 31, honestly. So it's going to be like a little bit of a flash in the pan here with Embiid, where we get a couple years out of him. And I'd like to take advantage of that opportunity when we can. And I pray I'm wrong. I pray he can get to 100% and stay healthy at some point in his career. Luckily, he's still young, but if this is happening when he's 23, 24, 25 years old, it's going to be a lot worse in his late 20s, early 30s, and so on, which I don't think he'll be, again, I don't think he'll be playing basketball when he's 31, 32 years old. I think his conditioning is poor, and it's just, you're not meant to be that big. Humans just aren't meant to be 7'2", 260 pounds. You would want him to lose weight so it's not as much pressure on his knees and his back, but that's why he's so dominant, because he's so big. You're going to take away his power game if he does drop 20 to 30 pounds. You don't want that. So it's kind of a double-edged sword that way. He's got to take it as it is. Hopefully, with this roster, we should be able to win without Embiid, but that's the big question mark. We struggled without Embiid during the season. What were we, 7-9, I believe, without JoJo in the lineup? I think Brett should be fired. I definitely think if they don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, that Brett is definitely on the hot seat and he's gone. The ownership and the GM, Elton Brand, have already came out and said that. It's Eastern Conference Finals or bust. Basically, you always want to get to the next level from where you came last year. We have a way better roster. This roster was constructed to go to the Eastern Conference Finals and or the Finals, you know? But I think a lot of luck has to do with who you get matched up with, who's healthy, so on and so forth. Your bench, we don't have a strong bench, so we're going to be riding the Philly Phab 5 pretty hard, which we should, and we want to rely on our most dominant player. And I'm praying if Embiid does, which is more likely, he's definitely not playing tomorrow, that he's not out for more than one game, because that's going to change a lot of stuff. Going to change the whole perplexity of the series if JoJo's not playing. Not only defensively, but the offensive game. I think we can take one game without JoJo, but the entire series, I don't think we can win without him. Dead serious. He covers so many of our issues defensively. That's not even funny. But praying Brett isn't going to foul stuff up, and it's not always Brett. It's a shame the guy gets blamed for a lot of it, as does the coach a lot of the times. You got to get hustle out of your players. You see guys laying off, but you got to leave the regular season behind. It's a clean slate. Guys played down to competition during the regular season because the games didn't matter, even though they kind of did. But it's all a different ball game. It's going to be pressure on Ben Simmons. Is he a true point guard? Is he going to become a transcendent player? I don't know if he is a point guard, to tell you the truth. I don't think he'll ever develop a jump shot, but he can be a lockdown elite defender. He can grow on his post moves. I just don't think he's ever going to get that jumper. And without that jumper, you don't become a transcendent player in my eyes. I would love for Ben to be aggressive and drop 26 points, along with getting Tobias incorporated. I think he has to at least have 25 points tomorrow. And then with Brett using the rotation, not having 4 guys come in, 4 guys come out. You got to keep it short. You're going to have Jimmy. I don't think Jimmy and Ben should be on the court at the same time, honestly. One of them's going to have to come off the bench, or if he does, give Ben a quick blow and have Jimmy run the offense. But them two on the court, running the point position, I think it's really going to bite us in the ass. So we'll just have to see what happens. But 2 o'clock tomorrow, 2:30 tomorrow, at the Wells Fargo Center, we're going to be taking on the Brooklyn Nets. But my prediction is we take them in 5. JoJo sits out this game. We get the win. He comes back healthy for Monday. Praying that knee is okay. And it's just a little bit of arthritis in the big guy's knee. But we do not win the series without Joel Embiid. So let's pray to the basketball gods. He's going to be okay. And we don't get knocked out. But I don't see it happening, guys. I don't see us getting knocked out against the Brooklyn Nets. Kenny Atkinson's a great coach, and they've done great things for the hardships that franchise has gone through. So, yeah, we'll see. LEGM. We will see. All right, this is Kyle Gaffner with the Bitter Birds. Playoffs, baby. We're finally here. No more excuses. Let's take them down and go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Well, second round. Let's not jump ahead too far. Peace.